Oh, hello. Good evening. I'm at the Lowry in Salford, Manchester, UK. And I think this is working, but I'm literally tethered to my phone right now because the internet in this venue sucks. It's always sucked and it sucks. And the plumbing sucks here too. It's a really nice venue. It's a nice theater, but one thing I find in the UK, I'm just going to go straight into a little bitch fest here for a second. One thing I find in the UK is that often the venues are good, but the backstage leaves a lot to be desired. Like, for example, you would think that in a building that looks like this, which on the outside, it looks like the future. It looks amazing, just like, oh, it's beautiful. But the inside is like third world plumbing. You get scalded in the shower and then it's freezing cold and scalded and freezing cold, that kind of thing. It's one of these sinks where this is what you get in the UK, where there's the cold water and the hot water. What are you supposed to do with that? It's like anybody seen that since the 1970s anywhere else? You know what I mean? But in the UK, it's pretty common. So, it's just really. But so that happened today with the water. But now the internet just died, just went out right before I was going to sign on with you guys. So it's just so frustrating. And it's always been total shit internet in this venue. This is the 5th gig I've played here, and it's terrible. So Lowry, get it together. Fix your backstage. It's stupid. If you're going to have good gigs and people come through and play and stuff like that, you need to have solid internet, because people on the road need to communicate with their families and friends and do business and stuff like that. And it's you can't have your internet going out all the time. Luckily, phones are so good these days. I can just tether to my phone and look at this. It's fine, right? But it's really just annoying, so silly. But anyways, yeah. What are you guys talking about here in the chat? Tell us about the Rockman pedal. Well, I don't. It's funny because I'm not even supposed to. I guess they teased it enough. You guys know what it is and stuff like that, so you know it's coming. So, but it's cool. It's a Rockman. George Trips had a hand in the design, and he said we made a Rockman. It's a Rockman and a pedal. So, it's meant to be plugged in direct, just like you would a Rockman. Not really. You could run it into an amp, but it's pretty colored sounding, and it sounds exactly like a Rockman. So that's all I can say is, you plug it in direct and it does its thing. So that's that. I've got a video coming for it, and it'll be next week because NAMM's coming. Good times. I'm going home for NAMM for a couple days. I'll be there on Friday. If anybody's going to be at the show, I'll be at the Sir booth and showing some guitars and stuff. And they've got some fun stuff coming for the show. So I won't say any more than that. But will I be at the Sir booth? I will on Friday. Yeah, I'll be there on Friday if anybody's around. Saturday morning, just for a couple hours, and then I got to split again. I got to get back on a plane to come back over here and play straight into Bournemouth gig. So, yeah. And let's see. Paul says he's coming to the show in Edinburgh. That's cool. We'll see you there. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be kind of a chaotic, well, not chaotic, but just doing the show, and then I go straight to an airport hotel for maybe 4 hours, and then get on the plane to go back to home to go to NAMM and stuff like that. Little update on last week's show. Amazing. You guys totally showed up, and it was awesome. And we donated $500 to Pasadena Humane. I just met Naive Steve, who you guys might know from the chat here and stuff. He's often watching, and he hand delivered me a donation for Pasadena Humane to give them. So I'll get that back home and get them to them, because they're doing such good work and stuff. So I really appreciate that, Naive Steve. Thanks so much. Thanks for coming to the gig. We had some fun. Tonight was actually my favorite show. It's just the backstage in this venue stinks at the Lowry, but the gig is great. The venue's cool, and it was my favorite show of the tour so far musically. So really, really good. Yeah. You do some miles. I do some miles. That's true. That is true. It's bonkers. See, Nam, where's that new synergy head they've been teasing? I don't know what that is actually. It might be. I think I might know what it is, but I'm not 100% sure, so I won't comment. Oh yeah, so let's see here. Really enjoyed your last video, that Dumblish pedal. Yeah, just put that out the other day. That's a cool pedal. Some people were commenting that it was like, why is it $400? It's expensive. It's a tube preamp and a pedal. So I was like, if it was in a one rack space, would you complain? Probably not, right? It's just that everybody wants pedals these days, or things in pedal form. So you can build something into anything, but it's a high voltage tube preamp. It's meant to be run into like a power amp. That's how it sounds best. That's why I ran it that way. I was confused at first too. I was like, this is a pedal, right? An overdrive. No, it's actually a tube preamp that runs at like 150 volts or something like that. It's meant to be run right into a power amp. So that's the idea with that. By the way, sorry I didn't put up a watch page for this earlier. It's been kind of a hectic day and stuff like that. And I just did the gig, did meet and greet and stuff like that. And I was like, I gotta get to the show, and like ran in here and just put up the watch page and packed most of my suitcase, and had to do that because we got to get out of here. They'll boot you out of the venue eventually. And if my stuff's not packed, then I'd be holding that up. So anyways, I do what I can. There's a big old super chat there from Jay Busk. Thank you so much. I had Dave mod my 74 Super Lead with the Mars Jose mod. Love his tone, but I've never been able to get a good tone out of a D standard tuned guitar. It's always too muddy and too fizzy. It sounds fine when I play in standard. That's interesting. So how's it sound? Does it work with the mod that you had done? I wonder. Yeah, Mick did the D. It's interesting, the whole step down. The only time I've ever really tried it was that Dr. Feelgood track that I did with that amp, the actual, Jose one that was the amp on the recording. A delicious Stillford pressed cider, fantastic. Oh man. Oh, there's Todd says, I've been waiting for you to go live. Hopefully not too long. Oops. There's the comment. Been waiting for you to go live. Well, I'm here and I wouldn't miss it for the world. So here I am. Greetings from Greece, says George. Great to see you. Interestingly enough, you just reminded me of something, but I have some big news coming this week that I can't really talk about right now, but it's first day in NAMM. We'll find out about it, but it's a bit of a bucket list thing. It's like a bucket list that I didn't know I had, and it's still a pinch me thing. But anyway, some big news. So it's coming on Thursday, and I guess watch this space or Instagram or something like that, and you'll see. But it's really bonkers. Very excited about it. So that's all I'll say about that for now. But anyways, yeah, it's still like a pinch me thing. Like, is this really happening? But I'm so looking forward to what's going on later in the year. So that's that. Let's see what else we got here. We're talking about the older radial tube powered pedals. Yeah, I remember those. The blue one and the red one. Red one was kind of hotter. The blue one was more Fendery. They were cool. They were very cool. Let's see here. Okay, my dilemma. So many cool preamps. What should I run them through? Is the Power Station my best option? The Power Station is meant to be a fairly transparent tube power amp. I don't know how close it is to the power amp in something like the Fryette stereo power amp, but I think as far as tube power amps go, I think Fryette probably makes currently the best sort of standalone stereo tube power amp, the 2 rack space. Sorry, I think it's 1 rack space stereo power amp that he makes. A lot of people use those, so that would be probably for a little more guitar power amp tone sound, I would probably go that way. But the power station definitely works. It's just a bit, it's a bit cleaner, more transparent kind of thing. If you're using a Soldano style preamp or something, it's probably fine, going into that anyway, because it's mostly gain generated in the front end and stuff. But it seemed to work well. Like when I used it in the Dumble video, it works well, long story short, yeah, I would say, if I was looking for a little more tonal coloration of like a guitar power amp, I would probably go with his dedicated stereo power amp. And I like stereo anyway, so I would do that for that reason. But wondering if after your black Les Paul custom broke the headstock, if it sounded better. I don't know if it sounded better, but it was fine. The guitar is still the guitar, and it's always sounded good, and it didn't really change, I would say. I don't think it really changed. The guitar, after I had the headstock break and the repair done, I had it in Japan. It was pissing me off. I remember it would like go out of tune, and just the nut was. The guy that did the headstock repair did a great job, but he also did a nut on it, and it was like kind of just wasn't all that. And then I took it to a guy at a store called Huchi's in Shibuya, which is really cool. This store, it's great. It's a unique kind of small guitar store, but a great repair department. Really cool guys. They've got some nice pedals in there. It's not a big store. It's not packed with stuff, but it's Huchi sells Cruise guitars, CREWS, which are really reasonably priced, well-made Japanese guitars that are kind of like copies of Gibsons and stuff. So like, they have like a cool Pelham Blue SG and a cool Flying V and stuff like that. And they're really nice, and they're not really comparatively that much money for the quality of the guitars. I just really like the store. It's cool. The guitars are nice. And anyway, the repair department's terrific in there. So the guy in there repaired or it didn't repair, but did a new nut for my Les Paul custom, the black one, when I had it out there. And man, it just transformed the guitar. The guitar stays in tune so much better now. And it really taught me, it's like if you've got a Gibson style guitar with a 3 on a side headstock sort of thing with the strings fanned out, you really need a good, super quality nut. And if your guitar is not staying in tune, a good luthier can really help, And so that's what I learned from that experience, because he really made the guitar so much better with a new nut. So it's got a nice new bone nut, and typically Japanese craftsmanship. He did an amazing job on it. Really terrific. There's a super chat from Jay Busk. Thank you. With my standard tune guitar, it sounds great, just like Mick. But when I try to actually tune to his songs, it sounds like shit. Interesting. Wonder what it is. I don't know. He plays a lot of like Fender scale guitars. Like he would use, those kind of like super strats with a humbucker in the bridge, JB or something, I think, and then like a Floyd, which is different than a Les Paul. So what's your standard tune guitar? If it's maybe a 24 3/4 scale, maybe it gets mushy down in D, but maybe try like more like a Strat, like a super Strat or something like that down in D. Maybe it's better and more. Maybe it's just a string tension, like the tautness of the longer Fender scale. But if you're using a Fender scale guitar, I don't know. Will Sir have a display booth or meeting rooms like last year? They've got a better booth than they did last year. They've got a bigger booth, more like a normal. NAMM seems to have come back. So that's my assessment. That more companies are going this year and stuff, and it seems like everybody's going, and it's happening again. So this will be a good show, I think. And I had to be there. Got a couple things coming in my own world with Sir and stuff like that. And I just wanted to be there. So that's why I'm going back and stuff. So I'll be there all day Friday. But yeah, stop by if you're going to be there. Would be great to see a rig rundown for this tour. Yeah, we plan on doing one. So you have 2 PT110s, 2 412s, more baffling than this year. Yeah, I brought the Destroyer out. It's in E flat. So I use it on about 3 or 4 songs in E flat, and sounds great. Love it. It's awesome. And I've got, yeah, two PT100s in stereo and two 412s. I'm digging it. Yeah. Todd says he's intrigued. Yeah, it's intriguing. You're going to be surprised, I think. But it's good stuff. So good stuff coming this week. Have you heard of Wang's amp? I recently purchased one, and they're surprisingly good. Never heard of that. What's a Wang amp? I have no idea. Jay Busk again. I've always had this issue with all my guitars and amps. It might be in my ears. It feels like when I tune down, I'm actually losing gain. That's odd. I don't know. Well, yeah, once again, is it a Gibson or Fender guitar or style, scale length? With Floyd players spend a lot of time and money trying to increase tone and sustain, and then people use coated vibration dampening, noiseless springs. I don't do that. I'll just use regular old tremolo springs. Dave Friedman makes a great point. He's like, Floyds were fine back in the day, and we didn't do any of this stuff with, the custom stuff. So I would agree with that. I mean, my good old Floyd on my old Jackson that I grew up playing from the time I was 16 is just fine still. So, any more tour plans other than Classic Rock Show? Lots, but I can't tell you yet. Classic Rock Show sounds great so far. What's your go-to sound? Go-to sound is Channel 2 on the PT100. Just, with the gain on about 6, and it's just a great sort of straight up British rock tone. Mic up those greenbacks, and that's the sound. So that's what I would say is that's where I kind of live. But I use a lot of sounds this year, actually. I mean, we're doing some different stuff this year that requires some, I'm using the clean channel like probably more than ever, actually. And I'm using the crunch switch on the PT100 actually a lot on this tour. So a little more gain, little edge of breakup for sure on the clean channel, and doing that, and then sometimes pushing that with a pedal or a compressor and stuff. And so it just depends. Will you do a video comparing the Thorn buckers? Oh, like the different, that'd be interesting. Could, I guess. I mean, basically what you've got is you've got a PAF, and then you've got a hotter version of that with an A4, and then you've got the A2, which is wound up to 9K, but because the magnet's a little softer, there's that factor. So it's a little warmer on the top end, a little squishier on the bottom end, a little more sponge, with the A2 magnet. That's what I would say. Yeah. What else we got here? This is interesting advice. I think probably pretty solid advice. Get a Boss G7, sculpt low end, put it before the amp, increase presence as you tune down. Use a close back 412 elevate it off the floor. That will tighten up the sound. That's all solid advice. This is what we come here for. It's not just me giving the advice. It's other folks. And that all rings true to me. A G7 for sure allows you to, just like, Eddie Van Halen used to, or Randy Rhoads with his Distortion Plus and stuff, an EQ can really help you carve out things in a way that no pickup or whatever can really help get you there. Just wondering about, because people always say after headstock break, Les Pauls sound better. Yeah, that's kind of a thing, that people say for sure. I will say my 335, which has suffered 2 breaks, sounds better than ever. One of the reasons, though, once again, was the nut. Actually, after the break, the guitar, the second break. So it was broken once before I got the guitar. Then once I got it, it broke again, and I had somebody do a really, really good repair on it. Now it's got all this doweling in the back of the neck and stuff, and it's like, it's definitely not stock, but it was a good, solid, repair. And then the only problem was that the nut was like, I determined the nut was like not quite in the right place on the guitar after all this breakage, just by trying to intonate it and then trying to tune it and stuff. And it was like, well, this is in tune on the open, but then I fret and it would be flat, it would be weird. And so it was like, the nut's in the wrong place. So long story short, Norik Renson, great guitar, long time, guitar repairman in LA, has been there forever, built a little lip on the front of the nut to build it out a little bit, change the kind of the break point over the nut. And that made the guitar play and sound and tune better than it ever had in my hands. So, you know, there's one example of it sounding better, but not for maybe the reason that you're saying. Are you still using Musicom Lab Parallelizer? Yeah. Yeah. How does it compare to the RJM Micro? It's the same, really. It's just a line mixer. So RJM works great. I've got that on my little board. They're both good. RJM's a little less, so it's a smaller product and stuff like that, a little more low key, a few less features, but they sort of accomplish the same thing. Yeah. Let's see. Have you ever tried PT100 plug-in into your 2-notes cabs? That's an interesting idea. No, I haven't actually. That's probably sound really good. I have tried the PT100 into the PT100 plugin. So like I took an amp PT100 and I loaded it down with a Sur reactive load, and I ran it into the plugin, and then I disabled the preamp and power amp and just used the cab sims. And then I could then disable the, then go to just using the plugin as a plugin with the amp active and everything. Because I wanted to compare the plugin PT100 to the real PT100, just running into the cab sims of the plugin, if that makes sense. And they compared very favorably. It was interesting. It was really interesting, actually. Duncan JB, too nasal for my Kramer. Any suggestions? Try the Sur SSH Plus. That's his version of it, and I think it might make you happy. That would be my suggestion. Yeah, SSH Plus. Beyond that, you could just try a less hot, like if we're talking to Duncan, Screaming Demon, maybe, it's like more like 10K or something, or 11K instead of like 14, try a different, just a different pickup that's still hot, or hotter than PF. So I would say Screaming Demon would be a good one to try and see if it's, because it's not as much as the nasal thing is, the hotter you wind to pick up, the resonant peaks, shifts down, it gets more into the mids, and it's got this little boost, and then the high end rolls off. So it'll sound, if it sounds nasal to you, that to me says that it's too hot actually for you. You want something with a little more extended top end, that shifts the resonant peak up into the treble a little bit. Nasal means mids to me. Nasal, mid-range. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I'm still putting things in my bag here, so I'm ready to get out of here when they alert me that it's time to go. What else are we talking about here in the chat? Nuts are so important to tuning stability, 100%, and especially on 3 on a side Gibson style, instruments. Maybe I'm not playing correctly, but my guitars never or very rarely go out of tune when I'm playing. It sounds like you're playing completely correctly to me. That'd be my guess. Yeah. 7 months back, you alluded to a new all-in-one load box. Was that the new little TA? No, it wasn't actually. I saw that came out this week. Yeah. No, wasn't that. Oh, also, I should mention the video that came out for the Matchless amp. Sorry, that was a faux pas. The Bad Cat amp, but that's okay. We all know the lineage. Mark Sampson rejoined Bad Cat as designer, and sort of new version of a DC30, which is a Era 30, it's called. Man, hats off. Like, really, really good sounding amplifier. Just soulful and kind of, I've always been fascinated by Brian May's sound. How dynamic it is and how rocking it is, and yet it's an AC30 combo, and maybe one of the only guys that really used a combo that had like such a great kind of bordering on hard rock sound, which is Brian May, the way that he used an AC30. And this amp has that going on. It's like, two rectified EL84s. It's not a combo, it's a head, but it's that kind of lives in that space. And man, it just rocks, I mean, you can do, all kinds of sounds with it, but it's just a terrific rock amp is actually, what it is, along with other things. So anyway, watch my video for that, but I was very, very impressed with it. Really, really good sounding. People ask about pedal order, but would it be more useful for people to know how to experiment with pedal placement without damaging the gear? Yeah. I think pedal order is just a suggestion, for the most part. If it sounds good, it is good, I always refer back to Eddie Van Halen, and he definitely did some different things than the majority. Putting the phaser and flanger and all that up front. Flanger first, I think, and then phaser. I think was that the order, and then into echoes and stuff like that. And it always sounded so damn good, So, yeah. Saw a video today of. I think that was a good point there, Resident. Thanks for the super chat. And yeah, if it sounds good, it is good. So there's no right or wrong way, Saw a video of Johnny Depp looking at Jeff Beck's gear collection. Really sad, but cool. Yeah, that's interesting. Those guys I think Jeff must have really liked Johnny, as a friend. Seemed like they were pretty tight. Interesting, But, yeah, the way Jeff went was so sudden, wasn't it? So it must have been really hard on his friends. Because it was just, we were all surprised. It was like, what happened, And I should say, there's a guy I met. He was working as a tech for the Offspring. Really nice cat, and he said, yeah, I was teching on his last gig, like Jeff's last gig. And he said, as he was walking off stage, I snapped this photograph, and he got this really great picture of Jeff. And Jeff's like got shades on. He's walking off stage, and he's got his arm up. He's waving. I was like, dude, you might have taken the last picture of Jeff Beck. Certainly the last picture on stage. And it's a really great photo because it's just Jeff, and it's kind of black and white, and he's waving as he's walking away, off the stage. And such a cool photo. Because he was healthy. He was, in great shape. And then it was like literally 3 days later or something, he was gone. It was crazy. It was so fast. So it had to be hard on people like Johnny that he had a relationship with, good friendship, obviously, anyways. In D standard, I have a Les Paul Custom with T-tops, Kramer's, Mars Signature Telly, and replica of his Strat, I guess, with GFS pickups. And standard, I have an Ibanez. Yeah, I don't know. Sounds like you've tried all kinds of stuff. Sorry. Oh, it's been a long day. I woke up kind of early on the bus today. Here, outside of here. We played Liverpool last night, which is only like 40 miles from here, 30 miles. So it was so close. And then rolled here, and I had a pretty good sleep, but I woke up at 8:30 in the morning. I probably went to bed at 2 on the bus. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm an 8-hour sleeper. I knew that when I woke up. I was like, well, I'm not tired anymore. I feel like getting up, but I'm going to be tired later if I don't sleep more. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm just sleepy. So I'll probably hang another 10 or something, and then split and go to the bus. Yeah. Yeah. This fella, Mr. Strat, says, I'm almost taking off. Sorry, I'm leaving. Good to see you. Take it easy. Let's see. Playing an acoustic on this tour. Great question there, Richard. I'm not actually. And I think you said it was you, right, that had a puppy pass away. Your dog passed away. I'm so sorry, man. So sorry to hear that. That's rough. I'm not actually playing acoustic on this tour. James is playing a little bit on 2 songs, but not me. Rachel says, love that bad cat. Gorgeous. Yeah, really, really, really good sounding amp. Like super good sounding in that EL 84 class, you know. Selling my original 83 Kramer Pacer Carrera, all black with original Floyd. Would love to put you in the driver's seat. Interesting idea. It sounds a lot like um, Dave Friedman's. He had one of those, I think. Pacer. Is it 2 humbuckers with a black Floyd? Is that right? Kind of cool. Let me think about that. Let me think about that. My phone's lighting up like I'm asking AI to do something. I didn't ask you to do anything, phone. Let's see. Will there ever be an opportunity to tour with Yoshi again? Just curious, since you love Japan. I certainly hope so. Maybe more on that soon. We'll see. We'll see. Ask me next week. That's not my news though for the week, but ask me. Going to see John Fogerty this coming Friday in Eagles at the Sphere. Thoughts? Well, the fella that took over for me in Don Henley's band when I had to leave, actually, is now playing lead guitar for the Eagles. So Stuart Smith retired, and he's now taken over. So that's interesting. So you'll see him on guitar at the Sphere, and Fogerty's, one of the greatest American vocalists of all time. I think. I mean, his voice is incredible. And he's a guitar nerd, I think, too. He's really into guitar and stuff. So that it should be a great show, I would think. Let's see here. Would the PT 212 cab, the 50-watt one, be okay for a 50-watt head? Yeah. I mean, just a cranked, like 1987 or something. Maybe I might be a little scared, but if it's a master volume sort of 50-watt head and you don't run it at your ear splitting levels, you probably be all right. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Going to try to live stream from NAMM in the mornings if the internet allows. I'll look out for you on Friday. Can't wait to see what's new. Yeah, Friday there'll be all kinds of new stuff by then, for sure. Lots to talk about. Let's see. They eliminated resonance knob on new TA. As far as would that also fix potential issues with the load on the original TAE? Do effects come through the internal amp and use the through at the same time for wet dry? It's a little above my pay grade, but I think the effects do come through. Yeah, sure. Like you can get delay and reverb definitely through the amplifier. Yes, so I can answer that. Use the through at same time for wet dry. I'm not sure what that means, but so there's no resonance knob on the new one. I guess they're probably playing a little safer or whatever. It's just a little more refined or something, I saw there was a couple controls on it though to still change it was like stacker combo or something, like whatever however they're tuning their load. But I don't know enough about it to comment, to be honest. I'd have to, see it in person and stuff. So should I keep pot at 500K is it for a guitar with a humbucker? If you've got a guitar with a humbucker and the bridge and 2 singles, I would say yes. Short story. I mean, there's a way to wire guitars like that. If it's a Super Strat, to C250K on the volume pot for the singles and 500 for the humbucker. That's what Sir does, I think. But if I could only pick one or the other, I would go 500. I would. Yeah. Visited any instrument shops since you landed across the pond? Not really. No, not so far. I remember Concrete Blonde. Is there a more nasal guitar tone? But great guitar tone. The solo on Caroline is one of the most beautiful guitar solos I've ever heard. It's so amazing. The dude used to use an Ibanez too. It was like an RG 550 or something like that. And he played like this amazing, the phrasing on the Caroline solo. Go listen to it. It's like, I love that solo, you know, and it was at a time where nobody was playing guitar solos. It was like the mid 90s. And it's such a gorgeous song. I really like Concrete Blonde. Really interesting guitar playing. Joey's obviously great. Also another great. I mean, the solo is like, it's kind of interesting. He had this great, you know, like his time, dun, 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 whatever, Joey, dun, dun, da, 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 you know, he'd play like behind, like he'd come in on 2 1, like the and of two, you know, and start his phrasing, and it was so lyrical and beautiful, like such good guitar playing. So, and a unique tone, you know, he had a sound. I can't even remember the dude's name right now. It's just sad, but it was really good. I like Concrete Blonde a lot. I loved her voice. It was so melancholy. That music was great. You know, a lot. There was so much good, like Mazzy Star, and great music that came out then that was so melancholy, beautiful stuff. I was way into that, like for a while in the '90s. That whole the '90s is when I really discovered Neil Young, and when the Harvest Moon album came out, I was like, I never was really into Neil Young, and then I could listen to that music, and I was like, oh wait a minute, this is amazing. Like, you know, I had this whole connection thing with Canadian singer songwriters in the '90s. I started, you know, just really enjoying, you know, Joni Mitchell and Neil Young and stuff. And then like even like Crash Test Dummies and bands of the day that came out. Once there was this kid who got into an accident. I could be the singer in that band. I got the right voice for it. It always just been there. Anybody know that song? If not, you'll think I'm crazy right now. But anyways, it was so interesting to me, like that music at the time. I really like. There was a band from St. Albert. What the heck are they called? The oh shit. I'm totally forgetting the name of it. But I'm an adult now. You know that band? Anybody out there? The Canadians out there know what I'm talking about? I'm just spacing right now because I'm really tired. But anyways, so great. The '90s was so much fun. Actually, music was so cool. But what's the band I'm talking about? The starts with a P, I think. I can't remember. Moberg was the singer, and I just can't think of the name of his band. Any news of Friedman's AC30? I don't know. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff brewing, and I think that he just I know he's got stuff coming at NAMM, but like some really interesting stuff. But I don't think that's one of the things that's ready. So, just ordered the Cinvertech SHODA, your video of the SHXC. Excuse me, I'm so tired. It was amazing. So this is the new sort of Marshall booster pedal, right? That he sent me one, and I just haven't had time to try it. I meant to bring it out here, but I was too like luggage and everything. I couldn't even fit extra stuff, so I was overpacked already, so I didn't. But that's interesting that you ordered one, and I hope you like it. And I got to try it because he swears that it's the greatest Marshall boost ever. So I will give it a go pretty soon. As soon as I can. I'm hoping that I'm still connected and everything's going good. I think the stream's good, but just got a little weird message on screen here, but I think it's working. Okay. Super chat there. How's the coffee over here? Oh, good. There's lots of great, you know, independent coffee the world over. Today I didn't have anything special, just Costa, which is like, you know, Starbucks or whatever. But tomorrow in Leicester, I know a good coffee shop. So I've got a day off in Leicester tomorrow, and then we play De Montfort Hall the next day, where the Beatles played. Should be good. And then we do Edinburgh, and I fly home for NAMM after that. Yeah, I am gonna go. You guys are talking about the Jeff Beck guitars, Oxblood Les Paul and Yardbirds Esquire, two of the coolest guitars ever for 100%. There's Christie's exhibit in London right now with all the guitars, and I'm gonna go when I'm in London. So definitely gonna go check it out. It's already. I can talk about the set because we're already doing it, but I'm playing some Beck in the show. I'm doing "Cause We Ended as Lovers," and it's so much fun every night to play. Henry plays a beautiful keyboard solo every night on it, where it's totally different every night. It's like I always, he's such a brilliant musician, our keyboard player Henry. So it's really fun. Yeah. What else we got here? You should come play Liverpool, Nova Scotia. Is there one? I didn't know that. What's your favorite non-flashy guitarist? Oh, I mean, non-flashy is Jeff Beck. I guess he's flashy. He even had an album called Flash. Non-flashy. I mean, Landau is like, if you listen to his records, he's so understated on records, and then you go see him live, you'd probably be like, oh, he is flashy. But I don't think it. He's just musical. Mike Landau's like, to me, and a lot of guys in LA, that get to see him play the potato and stuff. He's like the best living electric guitar player. Just I've never seen anybody more in touch with just communicating. Like, I'm not thinking when Mike plays, I'm not thinking about flash, or I'm not thinking about. You're just hearing the sound of his mind and soul coming through the guitar and coming out of the speakers, and it's like so magical. So you feel privileged when you go watch him play, to get to see somebody that's so connected and having such a conversation on the instrument, that you get to be a part of, and it just feels very special. So every time I go see him play and everybody there, it's almost like, that's the vibe in the room. You feel special, like that. Oh, I'm so glad I got to witness that, and everybody's feeling that. The 60 people at the gig or whatever are all feeling the same way. And it's like you're in on a secret or something. That's, even though he's not secret, but he's underrated, man. I mean, he's such a great guitar player. So non-flashy, I mean, if I think about just kind of like simple, non-flashy, like who would be David, let me see. I'm spacing on someone's name right now. Sorry, I'm gonna look it up because I'm just feel so stupid right now because I'm so tired. But sorry, one second. Daniel Lenoir. I just couldn't remember Daniel's name because I'm so tired. But Daniel Lenoir was like, I didn't know he played guitar like he did, and he was one of the most interesting guitar players to hear. I remember seeing him in a club that's not there anymore called Spaceland in LA. And he was playing I think a gold top Les Paul through an AC30. Had very minimal effects and stuff like a fuzz and just a couple pedals. And he used them in ways that I'd never heard anybody use effects before. He played with his fingers, as I remember. And he was one of those guys, a little like Mike, actually, where he was so connected to the guitar that I was watching him play and I couldn't understand what he was doing. It was like I couldn't see like his weird strumming right hand style and stuff, the way he was doing things, but the sounds that were coming out of the amp were so magical. It was so like just really interesting guitar playing. And he'd hit the fuzz at the weirdest times. It'd be like in the verse where you'd think like it'd be the quietest moment, and it was quiet, but the way he'd use the fuzz would be in the verse, and then he'd turn it off in the chorus. It was so interesting. That's my memory of it. So he was I would say a non-flashy guitar player that was just using it as a a vehicle, for, it was really interesting. So, okay, I'm gonna go soon because I am thrashed and tired. But I want to say thanks for the great reviews and valuable info. Thanks, Wayne. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Let's see. I play a PT 212 with a PT head. You can put a 100-watt head on it, no problem. There's two different PT 212s, right? There's one that's got a V30 and a greenback. Technically, kind of a 50 to 60 watt power handling probably with that one safely. My other 212 is 150 watt, the horizontal one that's meant for the PT100. So it's no problem. It's got the cream backs in it. So, but the other one is a little more, it'd be touch and go with a 100-watt head. I probably wouldn't be cranking 100 watts into it. Yeah, PT15 212. That's right. That's what I thought too. That the poster, that's what they were referring to. So, okay. What are my thoughts on an EQ in the loop versus in front? An EQ in front is to kind of tune pickups, to hit the front end harder, to overdrive. And it's not going to be as dramatic as an EQ in the loop as far as EQ goes. You can definitely do some interesting dramatic things with an EQ in front, but the tonal shaping, you can really transform the sound of an amp with an EQ in the loop. Scoop it out and stuff, make it super metal or all kinds of different things. Not unlike using an EQ in a mix. You can scoop out sounds and do things that, hopefully that makes sense. Any views on next single coils by DiMarzio or Seymour that match the Thornbucker? Well, Thornbucker is not super hot. I mean, you could get something like a, Seymour Duncan Classic Strat stack or something like that, and it would be probably match up output wise pretty well with a regular Thornbucker. Yeah, DiMarzio I'm not as familiar with, honestly, but people seem to like some of their, virtual vintage. I think, I think you could look for some Tim Pierce videos on those and stuff and see what you think. And some of the noiseless singles and stuff. But yeah, I mean, a Thornbucker is not super hot. So just look for a single that's somewhere around the high 6 range, 6 point something K, 7, because you don't need, if you've got a humbucker that's 8.3 K or whatever in the bridge, then a 6.5 or something, in the neck is fine as far as the, ohms. Because the neck, the strings generate more energy there, they vibrate more, so that's louder there anyway. So, yeah. Okay. What else? Was that Mark Moreland from Wall of Voodoo and Concrete Blonde? The song Joey might actually be about Mark. That's interesting. Really. Heavy tune. PT15 sounds awesome. It's at the top of my 2025 list next to the Reverend Vernon Reed guitar. I didn't know there was a Vernon Reed guitar. That's cool. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to just hit some super chats here if there's any that I missed. I don't think I did. Nope, I didn't. DiMarzio makes a killer noiseless. Yeah, people seem to like him. I know Tim Pierce liked him. Are you formally trained, or are you a monster? I don't know if I'm a monster, but I went to MI for a year. Did a year there, and my good friend Brian Hughes taught me guitar for a while back in Edmonton. He's a fella that he's actually staying at my place right now because he unfortunately lost his home in the terrible fires in LA. So it's interesting. I've known this cat since I was 13 years old, and now he's got a place to stay at my place while I'm away on tour for an extended period of time. And so he's a great guy. But yeah, so he taught me lessons for a couple of years when he was in Edmonton. Ended up moving to Toronto and starting to play with Lorena McKinnon and stuff, who he still plays with. Just a great guy, great guitar player, jazz player, mainly. He can play all kinds of stuff, but that's where his heart is, I think. Ben Coombs, what's up, bud? He's live in an hour with guest Ryan Hall. Cool. What else we got here? Your Rust Jam with Tone X was awesome. Thanks, man. Alex, big influence. Me too. Huge influence on me. Make sure you get enough sleep. I will tonight. Yeah, I got a day off tomorrow and stuff, so I'll sleep in tomorrow. It'll be all good. Won't be able to get into a room tomorrow till probably 3 p.m. or something, so I'll sleep in till 11 or something. Get up and go find a nice coffee, and then finally get in a hotel room eventually. Do I think Cobain was any good? Cobain was a terrific songwriter. Really brilliant, I mean, those songs have totally stood the test of time, and he had a lot of attitude and a lot of, he was a, great artist, as a guitar player or whatever, like, nothing, but it's almost like John Lennon, as a guitar player, whatever, as an artist, friggin' fantastic, right? Use the guitar as a vehicle, to get his art across. So I think I like that. Lan wants from a different planet, good planet. You wish you could visit, but not many of us can speak that language. Yeah, he blew my mind, man. It's funny. I saw him at Spaceland, and then I saw him again at it was like a private party for something that was at a roller rink in LA, and he was playing in the middle of the roller rink. So, we were like roller skating around. It was Daniel Lanois was playing. Crazy, right? But true. 2003 or so. So, and it was around the same time that I saw him at Spaceland. So, yeah, these are the wacky things that would happen in LA, magic. Let's see. Watching John Lennon sing while blasting through all those Beatle chords on that tiny Rickenbacker was so impressive. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. It's funny. I went to the Cavern Club the other night. There's a great Beatles band that plays. It's young guys. They're probably all 21 years old or something. Beatles cover band. And they dress the parts and they have the hair and the whole 9 yards. So it's kind of fun. And I went the other night and saw him for a minute. But the John guy is really good. And he plays the right guitar. It's the Black Rick with the 3/4 scale. And I totally know what you mean, Chris. It's like he got a lot of mileage out of that weird little guitar, and just playing and it goes to show it's all about the songs, and it's not, it's just, it's about the vocals, and the guitar was just a small part of, big part, but small part of the Beatles, just a piece of the puzzle. And they pretty much just plugged into amps, got a sound, and it was all about the chords and the voicings and the voice leading and the, the vocals and the lyrics, the harmonies and stuff. That's what was important. That's interesting. So, did you ever play the Jeff Beck Strat? I have, yeah. I got one from 2023. I remember the ones back in the day, way back, 20, 25 years ago, and they had a great big, the ones with the roller nut and great big neck, really friggin' big neck. That's my memory of it. And then I think the later ones weren't so much like that, but yeah. Somebody saying Dan Huff, not flashy, but from the Mike Landau scene. Yeah, you guys are picking some good, for sure. Malcolm Young, not flashy, but killer. Elliot Easton, a little bit flashy though. Yeah, he had a little flash, Great solos, man. The solos were songs in and of themselves. So good. Rich Robinson, for sure. That's a great, yeah. Mike Campbell, not flashy, sure. Yeah, somebody else said Malcolm. Great guitar players, everybody. It's good. Mark Knopfler, I think he's a little flashy. That's what I think. Neil Young, sure, one noter. Cinnamon Girl solo. Rich Robinson, best non-Flesh player. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Well, you guys, I'm tired, man. I think I'm gonna go. I wouldn't miss this for the world, but yeah, I gotta go. Um, next week. Oh man, I'll tell you what. Just bear with me if I want to move it to Monday next week, because next week what's going to happen is I'm going to fly on Saturday and arrive on Sunday. So I go to Nam, and then that'll be crazy, just be so turned around. I get on a plane at 6 p.m. on Saturday next week to fly back to, it'll all be over by this time next week. And I'll be flying back to here, and then I'll play a show in Bournemouth that night. So I fly in, probably arrive at noon or something, go straight to Bournemouth and get ready for sound check and do a gig. So it's going to be bonkers. And then after the gig, do I do Sunday Live? I don't know. I might try and just sign on, because that'll be after NAM, and I should probably try and do it. I'll just for at least 20 minutes or something like that. So look for me if you're interested. Because I'd love to talk to you about, the show, and also the news that I have this week, which is nuts. So it'll be coming. Yeah. Oh my God, that's a day. Yeah, it'll be a crazy day. It's actually like 2 days, because I leave on 6 p.m. on Saturday. I arrive on, you lose the time that you lose, the 8 hours, fly over and then also, the flight and everything. And so I get in at whatever, noon the next day, and then go straight to sound check and a gig, a 3-hour gig. So it's gonna be crazy. I can sleep good on the plane, I hope. And then if I can sign on and do this, I will. If I move it to Monday, bear with me. It'll just be because I'm too thrashed, but I'll do the best I can. Anyway, but yeah, I'm so excited about what's coming this week. So it's a crazy thing, but it's definitely a lifelong bucket list kind of thing that you'll hear about this week. So everybody have a terrific week, and thanks for being here, and thanks for bearing with me. Weird time. I signed out at 3 p.m. A bunch of my regulars were probably like, is he even doing this? This week, but here I am, because you guys are the best. Todd Roy, Ben Coombs, My Knees Hurt, Chris, Richard, Surfer B. Who else? Andy racks the cams. Thanks again to Naive Steve for the donation to give to Pasadena Humana. We'll get that to them personally, handed in. You're the best. So anyways, you guys are awesome. You're always here for me and stuff like that. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening to my rant about the stupid dressing room and their Wi-Fi. Worked great, tethering to my phone. Crazy, right? Much better than the internet here at the Lowry. Lowry, get your shit together with your plumbing and your internet. It's BS. All right. Take care. I'll see you next week. Over and out.